What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and this week I'm joined by my special guest, Chris Abicon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So if you have not done so already, please tune in throughout the week. We had Monday, we talked about Airbus and their acquisition, $2 billion potential acquisition of Atos, the big data company. On Tuesday, we discussed the Department of Energy and how they're investing $70 million into a fund to help uh, provide more research and development and just protection of and very critical infrastructure. And then today we're going to go over an article from uh, CSOonline.com. So it's titled U.S. Department of Defense's CMMC 2.0 rules lift burdens on MSPs and manufacturers. So this was written by John Mello Jr. So in the article, it discusses kind of um, some of the upcoming rules and regulations, as well as how this will potentially pull some of the burden, so to speak, off MSPs and place it back onto the vendors and the contractors to do their due diligence when it comes to CMMC 2.0. So luckily this week I have Chris Epcon on the show. He's kind of the SME on CMMC 2.0. Not to gas his head up too much, but to discuss kind of his take on it, as well as provide some more insights and information into it. So Chris, what do you have for us?
That's interesting. The specifically with the MSP side of the house and external service providers, the article does mention it lifts burdens on MSPs and manufacturers, but that doesn't say it lifts burdens on organizations seeking certification, OSCs. It's actually in that case, it's actually become a little bit more difficult.
Hmm.
One, due to external service providers, not just MSPs, actually having a requirement to go through a CMMC level two certification. So what does that mean, right? So let's say you're a prime contractor for the DoD, let's say big company X. Let's say you are CMMC, or they're probably going to be CMMC level three, right? The highest level. They've already been DIBCAC assessed multiple times, right? Because they've got sensitive information, right? Yada yada. But obviously they have subcontractors underneath them, right? With this, and as well, it's saying that subcontractors need to have CMMC level two certification as well, at least in this example. But let's take it down to, a different example. Let's say you're a prime contractor or just a regular contractor or so. That's a level two. Now it's requiring um, your external service providers, MSPs, to be also level two, right? So they would have to have gone through a CMMC certification. So my concern with this is that there is, the inevitable net. Like it's going to be a spider web of contractors, subcontractors, and prime contractors that have contracts with each other. Now they've got to, provide system security plans. They've got to provide their own levels of attestation with each other and things like that. So to me, it's going to be a mess to some degree. But it's also going to be difficult for smaller, small medium businesses, upstarts, right, that have a cool product, ready for the DoD to use, but they're not hosting them on government secured high, or they're not really they don't have the money to spend, for $1 million a year or so to make sure that their cloud solutions are, FedRAMP accredited, right? So, or at least FedRAMP equivalent. So I think that there is a lot of I think that the DoD will put something out at least fix some of these issues. That being said, I still am very optimistic about FedRAMP. I'm sorry, CMMC. There are it's in its initiation phase, right? It's still maturing as a framework, and as the DoD and various stakeholders get more data points, get those public comments, right? And I've yet to submit a public comment, but I think those public comments from those, esteemed, um, industry professionals are going to be really crucial in ensuring, hey, the DoD, some of the stuff is not possible, right? Um, but yeah, I'm still very bullish on CMMC. I think there is a lot of upside to it, in getting um, to secure our defense industrial base. That said, there is an aspect of realism that needs to be at least absorbed from the DoD's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what I so in talking to you, right? So just to make sure that I completely understand it, I
Mhm.
also saw within the article that they're going to lift some of the NIST requirements from these manufacturers. So like the 171 potentially won't be a requirement. And I guess if you are CMMC 2.0 accredited or qualified, so
I,
that
I think
seems to be a
in
little
this case,
misleading to me.
it is. I think it is a little bit misleading, because uh, again, they do, at least in an article, they do say that they do not host or hold controlled and classified information, right? But the fact is, if they have a contract with a
Hmm.
company, with a DoD or a sub or a prime, they still have something called the FDI or the I'm brain farting right now, but there are little. It's a federal contract information that could still be considered part of the COI spectrum, right?
Right.
Federal contract information, not necessarily schematics and things like that, but we're talking like a contracts with this company could still needs to be protected to some degree, right? Um, so just keep that in mind. Now, as for this, the article didn't really specify, which manufacturers or how that goes into place,
Right, or the
right?
the type of manufacturing, right? Like so that
Right.
one that was very ambiguous at the end of the article. It's just like, hey, these will be lifted, but and what will be in its place? Um,
Right.
so I would still be kind of weary of that, or wary, I should say, of that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's because I think when you put up an article saying manufacturers no longer required to meet the standards, I think that's it's almost like inflammatory. It's a very I think, a controversial thing to say. So I think that could lead. So the wrong person might read the article, right, and say, "Oh, screw this! I'm not doing CMMC anymore." But I think that's a wrong way to approach something. You have to be fully informed and make fully informed decisions prior to, just. I think it's kind of irresponsible to be putting out an article like this. To be honest with you, at least a headline like that or a subheading like that.
Right. Like, so I just think I need a little bit more information in that regard. Like
Mhm.
that piece of it, like everything else seemed to be spot on, but that piece of the article, I was just like, I don't, so what is in this place? Like, why do they not no longer need this requirement? So,
Yeah.
interesting. So, there's more to come. Like this CMMC 2.0, it's a long road march to get into completion. I'm sure there'll be more information and topics that come up. Um, Throughout the year. But it looks as though like this is the real deal. Like the Department of Defense is um it has a hard line. Like you will be qualified, you will make sure this takes place. Um, it's just a matter of getting companies to the finish line. So but we'll definitely have you
Mhm.
back on to discuss more of it, right? Like, so again, like out of all my friends, you
Yeah.
are very invested in CMC. We also have Darren King. He'll be stopping by sometime this month. He's also big into CMC, and he's gonna provide some more information for that as well. So,
Yeah, the
um,
rule making space is very, very interesting right now because it's not really, while it's going to be set in stone, it's still in that, initial phase, and
yeah,
it's still very immature, right? And ironically, because it's a maturity model. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this turns out, and I'm really looking forward to be part of the team that helps out with CMMC.
absolutely. So, with that being said, definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So again, Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursdays are typically either Ask a CSP or a throwback, where we go back to the archives. We have like 520 episodes to dig back through. And then Fridays are everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. You can hit us up at the websites that go by our name. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. And you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn or Chris Abacon. Feel free to connect.
There it is. So definitely continue to tune in, stay safe, stay secure.
Peace.